Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin with a truth that few will tell you plainly. The path of least resistance leads to mediocrity. Greatness, wealth, power, peace of mind, these are reserved not for those who do what is easy, but for those who dare to do what is hard. You must understand this. Life does not reward wishful thinking. It rewards definiteness of purpose. It rewards the man or woman who decides what they want, burns all bridges behind them, and marches forward with a heart full of belief and a mind anchored in resolve. True success doesn't emerge from moments of ease or circumstances of convenience. It is the offspring of struggle, forged in the fires of resistance. Every person who has accomplished anything of enduring value has at some point stood face to face with difficulty and made the decision to push through it rather than shrink away. Greatness is not handed out to those who ask for it politely. It is earned by those who are willing to do what others avoid, what others deem too hard, too painful, or too uncertain. It is carved out of long nights, early mornings, rejection, failure, and the constant demand to do more when most would do less. Look closely at the stories of those we call great entrepreneurs, leaders, inventors, visionaries, and you will find, without exception, a common thread: difficulty. They didn't coast to the top. They stumbled, fell, got back up, and kept going. They did not wait for ideal conditions to begin. They created movement in the face of resistance. They embraced what was hard, not because they loved suffering, but because they understood a universal law, that struggle is the price you pay for strength, that resistance is the catalyst for growth. The man who lifts heavier weights grows stronger. The mind that tackles harder problems becomes sharper. The will that endures greater trials becomes unbreakable. The person who trains themselves to lean into difficulty instead of away from it develops a kind of inner steel that cannot be taught in books or borrowed from others. It must be earned through experience. Each hard thing you do becomes a brick in the foundation of your character. Every time you choose the uphill path when an easier one was available, you prove something to yourself. You show yourself that you are capable of more, worthy of more, destined for more. And slowly those choices stack up into confidence, resilience, and achievement. People often ask why success seems so elusive, as if it hides behind some secret door. But the truth is plain: success lives on the other side of difficulty. And most never get there because they turn around when things get uncomfortable. They quit when it gets hard. They seek shortcuts, fast results, painless victories. But anything worthwhile will demand more of you than you expect. It will ask for your time, your focus, your patience, your sweat, and sometimes even your tears. The easy route, though tempting, only leads to regret. It gives you fleeting comfort, but robs you of greatness. Doing hard things forces you to become someone different, stronger, smarter, more disciplined, more courageous. The process changes you. It sharpens your mind, stretches your limits, and reveals who you truly are under pressure. If you avoid the difficult path, you never discover your true potential. You remain trapped in the illusion of safety, unaware of what you could become if only you dared to try. Difficulty is the gatekeeper of transformation. It doesn't just challenge you, it invites you to rise. Definiteness of purpose is not merely a motivational phrase. It is the foundation upon which all lasting success is built. It is the act of deciding, truly deciding what you want, why you want it, and committing every ounce of your energy, thought, and willpower toward achieving it. Without a clear and definite aim, the mind becomes a playground for distraction. It drifts from one interest to another, from one opportunity to the next, never settling long enough to make any meaningful progress. But when a person locks their focus on a specific goal with unwavering clarity, they ignite a force within that begins to attract the resources, opportunities, and people needed to bring that goal into reality. Most people do not fail because they are incapable. They fail because they are unfocused. They go through life reacting instead of directing, responding instead of creating. They change their plans every time the wind blows. They allow opinions, fear, and temporary emotions to shape their path, rather than anchoring themselves to a purpose so strong that nothing can move them. A man or woman with a definite purpose becomes like a river channeling all its energy in one direction. That concentration of force creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. And confidence, when sustained by purpose, becomes unstoppable. Clarity is power. When you know exactly what you want, decisions become easier. Distractions lose their appeal. Every action, every step, every investment of time or energy becomes measured against a single question: does this move me closer to my goal? If it doesn't, it is discarded without hesitation. This kind of mental discipline doesn't happen by accident. It is cultivated through the constant reinforcement of a clear, compelling purpose. Definiteness of purpose also provides resilience. When setbacks arise, and they always do, it is the strength of your commitment that keeps you moving forward. Without a strong why, it is easy to quit. But when your goal is burned into your mind and heart, you don't stop when it gets hard. You adapt, you learn, you grow, you persist. Purpose gives suffering meaning. It transforms effort into progress. It turns failure into fuel. There is a magnetic quality to definiteness. People can feel it. It inspires trust, draws allies, opens doors. Others may not understand your vision, but they respect the certainty in your step. And that certainty comes from knowing what you are chasing and why it matters. Every great leader, every influential thinker, every successful creator has had one thing in common: they were not scattered. They were not guessing. They were focused. Their lives were pointed like an arrow at a target only they could see. Purpose also disciplines the imagination. It gives your thoughts structure, your emotions direction, your time value. Without it, the mind becomes a whirlwind of ideas and impulses. With it, the mind becomes a tool, sharp and effective. It begins to recognize patterns, connect ideas, and generate solutions that serve the goal it has been given. Obstacles are not the enemy. They are the proving ground of all meaningful achievement. Every challenge, every setback, every difficulty that appears on the path is not there to stop you, but to strengthen you. They are signals that you are moving, growing, and stretching beyond your current limitations. Without resistance, there can be no growth. Without trials, there can be no transformation. What most people call problems are actually invitations to rise to a higher level of thinking, performance, and being. When a person faces an obstacle, they are given a choice: retreat or rise. Those who retreat allow fear, frustration, or fatigue to dictate their direction. They interpret difficulty as a sign to stop, when in truth, it is often a sign that they are close to a breakthrough. Those who rise understand that each obstacle holds within it the seed of advancement. They recognize that adversity is part of the process, not a deviation from it. They use struggle as fuel. They become stronger because of what they endure, not in spite of it. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort, not realizing that they are also avoiding growth. They want the outcome, but resist the process. They seek the reward without the risk. But every obstacle is a mirror. It reveals your weaknesses and invites you to confront them. It exposes the areas of your character that need refinement. It teaches lessons no book or teacher can provide. You do not grow when things are easy. You grow when you are challenged to become more than you were. Obstacles also sharpen clarity. When everything is going smoothly, it is easy to drift, to become complacent, to lose focus. But when you face a serious challenge, it forces you to ask deeper questions. Why am I doing this? Is it worth it? What must I change in myself to overcome this? These questions bring about insight. They cut through distraction and force you to reconnect with your purpose. The harder the challenge, the deeper the reflection it demands, and the greater the growth it offers. Overcoming obstacles builds belief. Every time you solve a problem, you develop confidence. Every time you push through difficulty, you increase your capacity. These small victories accumulate, creating an inner resilience that no external force can take from you. What once seemed overwhelming becomes manageable. What once caused fear becomes familiar. The more obstacles you overcome, the more unshakable you become, and it is this inner strength built through adversity that ultimately sets you apart. Obstacles are also filters. They separate the committed from the curious. Everyone wants success until it requires sacrifice. Everyone has dreams until those dreams demand discipline. Obstacles reveal who is serious. They expose who is willing to stay the course when the excitement fades and only hard work remains. If you can persist when others quit, adapt when others panic, and find solutions when others see only problems, you begin to access a level of success reserved for the few. Every decision to choose the harder path over the easier one is an act of self-definition. It is in those moments when comfort calls and ease tempts that character is shaped. The hard choice is rarely the most appealing, rarely the most convenient, and almost never the most popular. But it is the choice that leads to depth, growth,